US and the Philippines begin their annual joint drill today, known as Shoulder to Shoulder, or Balikatan in Filipino. It's the first of its kind since Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte took office last June. The exercises will run until May the 19th on multiple locations on Luzon Island and the Visayas region in central Philippines. A military spokesman says around 5,400 soldiers from the two sides will take part. That's 4,000 fewer than last year. The exercise will focus on disaster response, humanitarian assistance and counterterrorism.
Good morning. I was there when the first Balikatan was planned sometime in the early 1980s. I was a captain in the headquarters Philippine Army. And I remember we went to Subic, I think twice, for the planning conferences, and our counterpart, the Americans, came to the HQ. So that was the first one was modest. It was composed of about Army people. Then later on, the Marines and the Air Force came in, and it became a huge exercise. In 2002, I was made the co-director of the Balikatan. A couple of months before I was posted to the US to become the Defense Secretary. And we went around visiting the troops. And I tell you, you cannot get more real-time or real scenario for exercise than this time of the year in the Philippines. As one American participant has said, he could sit under the shade of a tree and sweat profusely without doing anything. And so, through the years, the Balikatan went on. There was just the hiatus several years between the early 90s until we were able to sign the Visiting Forces Agreement in 1998, and it restarted again. Balikatan under the present leadership. Another reason that makes this year's Balikatan different, or should I say more special, is because, as mentioned a while ago, we are concentrating on HADR, or Humanitarian Assistance and Disaster Relief, operations, and counterterrorism. And I think under the current situation in the world, when calamities is becoming more severe, I think we have to devote more resources and time to this kind of activity, and also counterterrorism. I've talked to the defense ministers of China, Russia, and all the defense ministers all over in the Middle East, and the concern is terrorism. I think it's a global threat. I think America is also battling terrorism, both at home and abroad. And so may this year's exercise provide both the armed forces of the Philippines and the U.S. Armed Forces the necessary capability training in responding to disasters and conduct of relief and rescue operations during crisis and meeting the challenges of violent extremism. Let us put in mind that we are doing this exercise as a tool for peace building, and through this exercise, may the United States and the Philippines continue to have a stronger security tie and bilateral relationship. Allow me to express my appreciation to the U.S. troops who are here. We are thankful for your demonstration of friendship and goodwill. I also want to thank the observers, the Australians and the Japanese troops, forces, who are to observe, and maybe in the future we could include your troops to also participate in the Balikatan exercise. Mabuhay, and may you have a productive Balikatan 2017. Be safe, people.
I want to first thank all the men and women in uniform who spent many, many months planning the training events for Balikatan. These complex and multilateral training events require tremendous coordination. I applaud everyone's commitment, dedication, and hard work. Thank you very much. I also want to recognize great leadership shown by Secretary Lorenzana and General Ariel and their colleagues at DND and AFP for making this year's exercise possible. Thank you. We're here today to open a key bilateral engagement between the U.S. and the Philippines that addresses global challenges. We recognize the need to work together to overcome the daunting challenges posed by the international terror networks. We also understand that bilateral disaster response training can help save lives and help rebuild devastated communities. No nation can face today's challenges alone. Whether a natural disaster ravages part of the world or a man-made crisis shocks a community, our two militaries can deliver much stronger responses together. The lessons we take from Balikatan this year will allow us to respond together to the next disaster more quickly and more effectively. And through a counterterrorism training during Balikatan, our forces exchange critical skills needed to address our shared struggle against terrorism. Training shoulder to shoulder as friends, partners, and allies, our two militaries also build trusts and relationships that will help them deal effectively together with the full range of challenges here in the Philippines and beyond. So Balikatan is obviously a very important military exercise, but from my perspective, it's more than that. Balikatan is a very special and meaningful embodiment of our robust bilateral relationship. It reflects not only our strong military partnership, but also the deep friendship between our two peoples, our mutually beneficial economic ties, and very importantly, our shared history and shared interests. So I thank everyone who contributed to make Balikatan possible. And as I look forward to productive and successful training events for the next 12 days, I'm confident that Balikatan 2017 will reinforce the deep and lasting commitment among our armed forces to each other and for the peaceful and secure community internationally. Thank you. Salamat po.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning to everyone. Balikatan literally means shoulder to shoulder, but it can also be used to connote the partnership between mutually supportive entities that share a common goal. The alliance between the Philippines and the United States traces its roots back to the era of our forefathers and has fervently withstood the test of time. Throughout the course of history, countless accounts of sacrifices and heroism have been shared by our nation's military, from World War II to the Korean and Vietnam Wars, up to our current global fight against terrorism. Our armed forces have continuously shared ordeals that have strengthened our bond. The RPUS Balikatan exercises have been an avenue for us to enhance the cooperation between our military forces. Through continuous training and learning, we have mutually developed our teamwork. These annual exercises have also provided us the opportunity to test and validate our force interoperability, evaluate bilateral procedures and protocols, and provided us a common operating picture necessary to establish the right mechanism for better collaborative actions. These have allowed us to strengthen existing strategies and also to venture into new paradigms necessary to the demand of our job. Recent global and local events have taught us that we must be proficient in both traditional and non-traditional military capabilities. Just recently, the series of severe weather events, particularly the tornado outbreak and floods of April 28 to 01 May 2017 that has affected the central United States have tested the preparedness of the U.S. emergency response capability. Here in the Philippines, the Super Typhoon Yolanda in 2013 and the latest typhoons that have devastated the country has left valuable lessons in disaster preparedness. Further, the recent series of earthquakes around the archipelago has been a blatant warning of the eventual occurrence of the big one that we hope it would not come, thus prompting us to increase our disaster readiness. Also, in the light of our global fight against terrorism, we in the AFP and the U.S. Armed Forces have been working unceasingly to destroy all persons and factions who support this form of lunacy. Just recently, our successful operations in Bohol, which resulted to the death of 9 Abu Sayyaf group members, including their spokesman and potential upcoming leader, Abu Rami. And of course, that's under the leadership of Lieutenant General Lactao. And the operations in Sulu province, which resulted to the death of the notorious kidnapper and ASG sub-leader Al-Habsi Nisaya. They are manifestations that are aimed to eradicate terrorism is on the right track. However, we should not rest on our laurels, but rather our efforts must be sustained to maximize the momentum that has been started. Thus, in order to cope with the volatility of our dynamic security landscape, we focused of this year's exercises to the enhancement of humanitarian assistance and disaster relief and the counterterrorism capabilities and operations. In the week to follow, we will work hand in hand to improve our knowledge and competencies in addressing the devastation of natural calamities and subsequently enhance our ability to combat terrorism. By the end of the Balikatan exercises, we will be equipped with greater knowledge and skills in accomplishing our missions. But while doing so, let us not also forget to enjoy and have fun, meet and make new friends, so that our participation in this exercise will be a more meaningful and memorable experience. Before I conclude, I'd like to leave you all with a fitting reminder from the former U.S. President Dwight D. Eisenhower, and I quote, "Though force can protect in emergency, only justice, fairness, consideration, and cooperation can finally lead men to the dawn of eternal peace." End of quote. Allow me then to express the AP's appreciation to our counterparts from the United States Armed Forces for remaining true to our ironclad commitment for mutual defense. Our shared devotion to duty has continuously promoted security and stability not only in the Philippines but in the Indo-Asia Pacific region as well. With much confidence and enthusiasm, I am sure that this year's training activities will be productive and remarkable. As the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, it is with great honor that I hereby declare the Philippines-United States Balikatan Exercise 33-2017 officially open. Good luck and congratulations to all participants. Mabuhay tayong lahat.